What's happening, everybody? Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. This is your strident host, Kevin Smith, here, rumble.com/LFATV. This is a Loud Majority Live, guys. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. Tucker Carlson takes Indiana at one of the biggest Turning Point USA events I think I've ever seen, really proving that Turning Point is continuing the mission in the passing of Charlie Kirk, will not be pressured, will not be kowtowed by some people who would see them do things differently than they've always done, which is incredible to see. Also, we're going to take a little trip. We're going to take a little trip to a place in New York City called Canal Street. For the people watching this who are not from New York, you may never have heard of Canal Street. Just be aware. It's a sight to be seen. It's a sight to be seen. It always has been. It always will be. Of course, now it is slightly worse. Karine Jean-Pierre. We got to talk about Karine Jean-Pierre. Why? Why do we keep talking about Karine Jean-Pierre? Well, because it turns out, old KJP, her book, Following the View, and Colbert, and CBS This Morning, it's not doing too good. It's not doing too good at all. And it's really funny. It's really, really, really funny. Also, the dumbest person on the internet gets made to look like a complete jackass live on the internet. It's absolutely great. As Harry Sisson, I know many of you probably don't know who he is. He's like some 23-year-old the Democrats pay to promote their brand, and their brand keeps dying. We're going to laugh at him because he sucks too. But before we get started, guys, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We are rocking. We are rolling here, guys. Also, do me a favor. Head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. That is the best way to support this show and everything we've got going on over here. Well, I really do appreciate it, especially I've got an announcement coming in the next couple of weeks. You guys check this out. I'll be honest with you, this is probably my new favorite shirt right here. Boom. I'm loving it. I'm liking it a lot. You guys can pick that up over loudmajorityusa.com, or if you've already gotten everything you like from the shop, click that donate button right at the very top and become a monthly donor to the Loud Majority. $5, $10 a month, whatever it is you can afford. I know times can be tough right now, but let's dive right on in. So, yesterday, and there's been a lot of controversy surrounding conservative speakers, America First speakers, and Turning Point USA. Well, they had Tucker Carlson speak at the University of Indiana last night, and it was insane. It was absolutely insane. And I really want to thank everyone at Turning Point for not caving to public pressure. Because a lot of people recently have caved to public pressure, and it's not a good look. It's not a good look when you allow yourself to be canceled for whatever reason it may be. It was out of control. Here was the line to get into Tucker Carlson's speech at the University of Indiana. The line went on for miles and miles and miles and miles to get into Tucker Carlson's speech at the University of Indiana, which is great to see. It's absolutely great. As a matter of fact, here was an overview of inside the arena. Now, look, this is a basketball arena, so I don't know the exact number what it holds. Usually indoor arenas like this hold 17, 18,000 people, give or take. I'm sure some hold more, some hold less. But here was Tucker Carlson comparing what happened to Charlie to somebody else, which I found incredibly interesting. But they also show an overview of the stadium. Check this out.
This is the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever seen. And I don't... Whatever happens next in America...
I mean, that's out of control. That is absolutely insane for a college speech. I mean, I guess they could have fit a few more people, possibly. I guess they might have been able to fit a few more, but that looks like a sellout to me. That looks like a sold-out arena to me. If not sold out, damn near close. But listen to Tucker giving his speech last night.
This is the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever seen. And I don't... Whatever happens next in America, I hope it's in this direction, because God is here and you can feel it. And Charlie would have loved this, not just because he loved large groups of people, but because ultimately he was a Christian evangelist. And it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about, what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I can just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Everything is inverted, and the Beatitudes tell it, I think, the most crisply. Everything is sort of the opposite of what you think it's going to be. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. That is true, and you can feel it here. The thing about Charlie's message, I've thought a lot about it, and I'm trying not to be emotional because in addition to everything else, he was a wonderful man and a decent man and one of those rare people you meet who you just groove with in conversation and have these very intense conversations that you don't stop thinking about, which is my experience with him. But the main thing about Charlie and his message, he was bringing the gospel to the country. He was doing the thing that the people in charge hate most, which is calling for them to repent. So how is Charlie's message different? And Charlie was a political person who was deeply interested in coalition building and in getting the right people in office because he knew that vast improvements are possible politically. But he also knew that politics is not the final answer. It can't answer the deepest questions, actually. That the only real solution is Jesus. And the reason, it's really simple. Politics, at its core...
I mean, look at that crowd. Look at that crowd to hear some 40-something out there talking about politics. It was unbelievable. I was watching the speech last night, and watching it all happen in real time has been really incredible to see these speeches. And whether it's with I think Michael Knowles did one, Megyn Kelly did one, a few other contributors have done them all over the country. The crowds have been out of control. The crowds have been great. And when I spoke in Williamson County last weekend, one of the things that I was talking about is how do we keep the memory of Charlie alive? Who will replace him? Well, he was one of one. He's irreplaceable by definition. So it's up to each and every one of us. It's up to each and every one of us to tell the truth, not our truth, because there's no such thing as our truth. It's up to each and every one of us to study up and to get the facts and to know how to articulate your point. Because knowing information is not what's important. Being able to articulate it to others is the point, and each one of you and each one of us is going to have a different style in the way we do things. I know, as some of you may have heard, it turns out some people in Tennessee find me a bit strident, whatever the hell that means. Each one of us is going to have a different way of getting our point across. Tucker Carlson does, of course, the aw shucks sort of way of making incredibly complex points, incredibly simple to the majority of people, which is a gift that Charlie truly had. So if you want to keep Charlie's legacy alive, the way you do it is by knowing your stuff, by doing your part. And at the end of the show today, we're going to talk about how it is you guys can do your part. But the easiest way to do it is to always tell the truth. That's it. When somebody comes up to you and questions you about abortion, which happened last night at the University of Indiana, Tucker Carlson, aw shucks, as he normally does, and delivers a pretty powerful message.
No, I totally agree with you. But abortion is murder, obviously, and everyone knows that. And people are so into it because it's the same ritual that every civilization ever been studied has engaged in, which is human sacrifice. Obviously, why did the Incas, and it wasn't just the Incas, it was my ancestors, the Vikings, all of them killed people in order to appease the gods and give themselves more power.
Abortion isn't ritualistic.
Are you joking? They had an abortion truck outside the Democratic Convention. While you're here, maybe you could get an abortion. No, it's the most crazed level of fanaticism I've ever seen. Like when I was a kid, they would say, well, you know, there's probably some 12-year-old farm worker child who got raped and she's pregnant. And like, would you say to her she has to carry the baby? And I'd be like, oh, that's so sad. I can't, it makes me really sad. And like, I don't think she should have an abortion, but I get it. Now it's just like, no, abortion is the only right you have. It's all you have. You don't have the right to keep you from jabbing a needle in your arm with some unknown poison made by Pfizer. You don't have that right. You don't have the right to say what you really think. The only right you have is to murder your own kids? That's dark, dude. Listen to yourself. That's the saddest thing that could ever happen. Killing your children? The only thing in life, and I'm telling you this as a young person, with the greatest sincerity, I mean this as a father of four, the only thing that matters is not your stupid job at Citibank. Trust me, it doesn't matter. All that matters is having children, and your children are all that will matter to you. I don't care what you say. I've lived it. I know that's true. And so anyone who's like, oh, just kill your children. You know, I feel like a lot of the problems, I'm sorry, Brookie, to upset you. Sorry. It's my dog. I don't yell at home. But no, I think it's just grotesque. It's shocking that this happens. And everyone's like, sorry. There's nothing more entitled than a female Springer Spaniel, sorry. Anyway, it's the saddest thing, and to hear people like, I know a million people have had abortions. I don't know one who's happy about it, you know, and they're really sad about it. And it's awful.
Because it's not something that people take joy in. It's something that people do out of necessity.
No,
I think you're out of touch if you think it's a ritualistic thing.
Of course it's a ritual. How many abortions are there in this country every year?
And it's a matter of human rights, as you said. And it's a matter...
There's no human right to kill people, dude. Sorry. In fact, killing people is the enemy of human rights. The human right is to live.
Not a person.
It's not a person. Okay, it's not a person. But everybody knows it is. It's just so dumb. It's not a person. It's like they won't. Why don't we show a video of an abortion? And let's see if you can sit through it. And you would feel sick to your stomach. You have. Oh, okay, maybe you liked it.
I grew up in a church that thought it would be...
No, I don't. I'm sorry I said that. No, I'm sorry. No one wants to talk about the details, ever. And the most horrific things in life, including a lot that happens in war, including transgender surgeries, definitely including abortion, it's all couched in abstract ideological terms which are designed to prevent you from facing what's actually happening. A human being is being beheaded with a knife inside a woman. And that, if that beheading didn't take place, that would be a person, a human being, who maybe would go on to lead some screwed up life, maybe wouldn't, but it's not up to us. We don't get to kill people simply because they're in the way, period. And if you can kill children who are in the way, you can kill the elderly who are in the way, and in the end, they'll be killing us who are in the way. You can't do that.
See, Tucker in his own special kind of way, his aw shucks kind of folksy, pretending not to be, one of the 1% who have everything in the world. In his own kind of way. That's how you keep that memory alive. You do it by calling out idiots. And we're going to call out idiots for the rest of this show. And we're going to start with Karine Jean-Pierre, because Karine Jean-Pierre has decided that now that she is no longer in a position of power, she is showing us all in real time how unimpressive she actually is. And it's not getting less funny. And I believe that when people make a mockery out of our country, we deserve to mock them. I think that's what we should do. I think that when people make a mockery of our system, matter of fact, I'm texting a guy right now who is saying the exact same thing. Pretty funny stuff. Pretty funny stuff. I can't wait to share that with the people that need to hear it. But we're going to make fun of Karine Jean-Pierre because she's not doing well on her book tour. She's really not. And Carolyn Levitt had some very interesting comments towards Karine Jean-Pierre and her utter nonsense over the last couple of days.
She called you deplorable, and you say?
Well, with all due respect to my predecessor, she is one of the main culprits of the greatest cover-up and scandal in American history. She took the podium every day and lied to the press about the incompetence of her boss. And on this book tour, she continues to lie. She said this past week that Joe Biden would still be up for the job if he had, God forbid, been reelected in November. She actually said this week as well on a podcast that Joe Biden did more press engagements than President Trump currently does now. Any person across the aisle can tell you that is a bald-faced lie. And I will just add, when you talk to the real journalists, not the ones who are actually activists that pose as journalists, but the people who actually care about truth, and there are some of those left in the White House press corps. I work with them every day. They will tell you the Trump White House is the most accessible and transparent White House ever. Not only does the president take questions from the press on a near daily basis, multiple times per day, as he did today, but we also provide truthful and accurate information about what this administration is doing and accomplishing. And it's a stark contrast to what they had over the past 4 years, where they were gaslit, where they were told Joe Biden was mentally stable and up for the job. That was a lie. Where they were told the administration was doing everything it could to secure the border. Also a lie. I'm very proud to work for the greatest president in history. I know Karine unfortunately worked for the most incompetent president in history, so I guess she has a reason to be bitter, but being bitter will not sell you books, Jesse.
And I think the American people inherently know that. I think they do. How do I know that? Well, Karine, when she went on Stephen Colbert's show, now, Stephen Colbert's show is a meeting of the worst people in the leftist cult. Even they weren't picking up what she was putting down. Now, Stephen Colbert could say anything and get his audience of morons out there to clap for it. But watch Karine Jean-Pierre on Colbert instinctually know that what they are being told is not true.
I saw a guy who I had not seen backstage at the benefit that I did. It seemed like a dramatically different person. And at 81 years old, that's not entirely unexpected. You can imagine why people got so worried.
So, a couple of things. I got to see Joe Biden almost every day. And this is a question that I take very seriously. No one has ever said he hasn't aged. No one ever said that. He would make jokes about it. He would acknowledge it. And he would say, yes, I know I don't speak this as well as I used to. I don't walk as well as I used to. No one is saying that he didn't age. I'm talking about, did he have the questions that I was getting, the mental acuity? Was he able to govern? And the man that I saw nearly every day was someone who was engaging, understood policy, and was...
One guy clapped. Out of a whole studio audience, one person was like, oh yeah, we're getting it here. We're getting it here. Now, okay, Kev, you cut a clip. That is not representative of the feeling of many Americans towards Karine Jean-Pierre and the BS that she's putting down that they aren't picking up. That's not representative. So why don't we look to the invisible hand? Why don't we look to the invisible hand, as Adam Smith so very famously said? After being on Colbert, CBS, The View, hitting the podcast circuit, how is Karine Jean-Pierre's book doing after being out for 2 days? Now, as soon as it's out, if it's fire, everyone runs to it. You guys remember those Harry Potter lines? Or when 50 Shades of Grey came out with the second book, the lines were wrapped around the corner. You couldn't get some of these books. For the people out there that read Twilight, I don't know why you did, but you did. You remember what those lines were like? Listen to Emily Jasinski and Ryan Grimm of Counterpoints break down just how well Karine Jean-Pierre's book is doing after 2 days of sales.
Karine Jean-Pierre is on a book tour selling her new book called Independent, which is out and doesn't seem to be demonstrating much independence. We have an incredible mashup of Karine Jean-Pierre reacting to various people in the media who are now pretending to be very tough on this question of Biden's health cover-up. So let's go ahead and roll E1 to see how Karine Jean-Pierre is taking these questions.
I got to see Joe Biden almost every day. And this is a question that I take very serious. I want everybody to know that I take this question incredibly seriously. I do. I take this so seriously.
She's so bad at this. She
takes it very seriously.
Yeah, that's right. She's serious. At least we know that. But she's like, this is why she was I think she's actually one of the worst White House press secretaries, not for any political reasons, but just, it was so, I mean, with her, you always felt the trick if you're a press secretary is to use the talking points without sounding like you're on the talking points. You always know that she's like reading off a script in her head when she's doing it, and it sounds so inauthentic. And dare I say, unindependent, right? Which is the title of a book she's selling, by saying the Democratic Party was insufficiently pro-Biden. That is her take in this book, that the party was not loyal enough to Joe Biden, which is why she's no longer a Democrat, but is now identifying as an independent. Just an incredible concept. We were talking about the galaxy brain take earlier. This is a real galaxy brain at book length take from Karine Jean.
Now, listen to Ryan Grimm, someone who is so far to the left, he has almost fallen off the political spectrum.
Pierre.
It's not working. I just checked the Amazon page. The book came out yesterday at 192 pages, which is extremely thin, by the way, for a book. They want about $30 for it. Its rank is currently 24,107. For a book that was on an author who was on Colbert, The View, all of these other things that we're showing you here, like that's not good. That 24,000 means you maybe sold 50 copies or 100 copies on Amazon over the last day. Like, that's just a rough gauge. It's not good. I think
100 copies? Are you kidding me? She does all the press in the world, and she may have only sold 100 copies on Amazon. Are you kidding me? I mean, I have to assume her family bought the book. So that's got to, how many people you got in your immediate family? Cousins, aunts, and uncles? That's got to be 20. Are you telling me that 50 people bought this book? 50 people in America. 50 people in America all got up and was like, you know what I need? I didn't get enough Karine Jean-Pierre over the last 3.5 years. I need a little bit more. I wish I could find out what Simon & Schuster paid her for advance on this book. Independent. She's an independent. And that is the difference. That is the difference between what Charlie and Tucker are doing and what the left does. Because guess what? I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and I'm going to feel the way I'm going to feel, and I'm going to be honest with you whether or not you watch this show or not. Tens of thousands of people watching this show right now. The reason why you're watching it is because you like what I say. I'm not going to change how I feel for the audience. That's a sycophant. And that is what Karine Jean-Pierre is doing right there. It's nauseating. That is what's wrong with America. People in power with no skills. I mean, look, every White House press secretary, and I don't care who it is. I don't care whether it's Jay Carney, or it's George Stephanopoulos, or it's Kayleigh McEnany, or it's Carolyn Levitt. Every press secretary's job is to spin for the administration. That is the title of the job. But some people just suck at it. And if your job is PR, public relations, if your job is communication, you should be able to communicate. I'm not asking a lot. And I know a lot of people out there are going to cut this and go, Kevin is just being mean because she's a black LGBTQ. No, she sucks at her job. I got news for you, okay? Jay Carney, who was Obama's press secretary, was spectacular at this. He was so good at it. So, Dana Perino from Fox News successfully convinced everyone in America that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. That's how good she was at it. Okay? Dana Perino, Fox News, The Five, big show. We all love Dana, right? Yeah. Okay. Convinced the entire world that a country that doesn't have running water was able to produce nuclear weapons. That's being good at the job. Karine Jean-Pierre sucks at the job. You know who else sucks at their job? Everyone that runs New York City. And we're going to get to that in 1 second because ICE has taken over Canal Street, baby. So for those of you who haven't been to New York City and don't know about Lower Manhattan and, think it still looks like Gangs of New York, well, you're not totally wrong. But I'm going to bring you guys down to Canal Street so that you get to see what it's like living in the Empire State, living in the capital of the world. Before we get to that, here's Jeremy.
Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, it's that time of year again, isn't it? My favorite time of year, fall. Oh, I love the leaves. I love the autumn smell. I love the pumpkins. I love it all right before the snow flies. But what I don't love that comes with the cold weather and the fall weather is the flu, are the sniffles, the cold. All those common cold sniffles that you get every year. And if you have kids in the house, little kids going to and fro school, and they're coming back and they're touching everything and they're bringing the bacteria and all those viruses home from school, you don't want anything to do with that. You want to be proactive rather than reactive. That's why we're going to talk about propolis today. You know what propolis is? Well, ladies and gentlemen, propolis is what works as a barrier to keep the beehive absolutely safe. And what am I talking about? Well, Beekeepers Naturals. Now, my wife really turned me on to this. This is an endorsement of my wife and then myself as well. Beekeepers Naturals, folks, that is exactly what this is. This is a proactive rather than a reactive, all natural, all clean alternative to big food and big pharma. You've got your Beekeepers vitamin C packs, which are perfect for on the go, right? You've got your Beekeepers Propolis nasal spray. A few shots up the nose, clears out your nostrils, cleans any congestion that you have, and it's all natural, and it's going to work as a proactive barrier to any of that unwanted bacteria getting in. How about the Beekeepers All Natural Propolis Immune Throat Spray? 3 or 4 pumps of that a day, and anything that you're breathing in is going to be either repelled or killed right away. That's the amazing thing about propolis, and that is the amazing thing about Beekeepers Naturals. And I got a 20% discount for you. What's better than that? 20% discount. Look, you can even get the throat soothing pops and the kids prebiotic fiber pops, along with the throat spray, along with the nasal spray, along with the vitamin C packs. Folks, they've got it all, and it's an all natural, clean, beautiful option for you to have in order to, get away from the big food, get away from the big pharma, and go more natural, especially with a 20% discount. How can you not go to Beekeepers Naturals today /LFA and get your 20% discount? Clean out your medicine cabinet today with beekeepers.com /LFA. And now back to the show.
So before we head down to Canal Street, I'm sure you've all heard of it before, I want to introduce you guys to someone named Justin Brennan. Justin Brennan is a member of the New York City Council. He is also what happens if a talking penis needed glasses. This is Justin Brennan. These are the sorts of people we're electing in New York City right there. Just a strange-looking cat. That is Justin Brennan. Well, Justin Brennan is a dumbass who decided to say that a few days ago, the right-wing poverty tourists and provocateur came down to Canal Street. You ready for this? The right-wing poverty tourist. Well, who might he be talking about? Well, of course, that would be Turning Point USA Savannah Hernandez, a person with bigger balls than Justin Brennan could ever dream of having, despite the fact he walks around looking like a giant testicle. So Savannah Hernandez went down to Canal Street to show everyone the sights and scenes of our illustrious Lower Manhattan. Now, before I show you Canal Street, forever, Canal Street is where you go to get knockoff goods, okay? It just is what it is. You get fake Nikes. You can buy the Adidas with the 4 stripes. You can get a fake Louis Vuitton bag. You've always been able to do it down there. But since we have imported hordes of third world migrants, it has gotten significantly worse. Here's Savannah Hernandez on the ground.
This is Savannah Hernandez in New York City, and okay, my friends, I was just driving down the street, I was Ubering, and I saw this huge market of African migrants selling all of these bags along this sidewalk. The sidewalk was actually completely full of people, so I was like, okay, pull over, let me see what's going on. Now, I'm walking along this street, and the entire sidewalk was completely packed with people buying these Louis Vuitton bags, buying these YSL bags. Obviously, all of them are knockoffs. Now, I spoke to some of the migrants. They were telling me they're all from Senegal. And as I'm walking around, they all start grabbing their bags very quickly. Again, this entire block was filled with all of these bags. And they picked them all up very quickly. Within 2 minutes, they all started jumping in vehicles, running away. I was speaking to one of the migrants, and he ended up telling me that they don't have the license to sell these purses. It's illegal, and if the cops catch them, they will come and take away all of their products. Another thing that I noticed too, because I was filming, is these migrants, very similar to Paris, telling me that I can't film here.
Hey, you do the film here.
And that I wasn't allowed to be, using my camera. So they're being a little bit of aggressive toward me, and it just looked just like Paris. I was just in Paris, a month ago, and it looks the exact same here on the streets of New York as it did over there. Again, I've just never seen this. Maybe this is a common thing, but again, the entire sidewalk was completely filled with these knockoff fake purses. And then as soon as they thought the cops were going to come, they all just took off running. Craziest thing I've ever seen.
Once again, that's Savannah Hernandez with Frontlines over at Turning Point USA. Guys, go support Savannah's work. Her Twitter is at SavSays. Subscribe to her. It's not cheap to get around and do all this stuff. So, as she says, the migrants tend to flee when the police show up because A, they're here illegally. B, as we're going to find out a little bit, almost all of them have criminal records. They're selling fraudulent merchandise. They're ripping people off on the street. But what happens if the police do not show up, as they tend not to do? Well, Independent reporter Nick Shirley found that out the hard way.
How much?
Yo, what's up? We don't do no fucking camera. Fuck the fucking
Hey,
camera.
hey.
Keep fucking pushing.
Hey,
You heard?
hey,
Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Hey,
Fuck
back
you
up,
with your
back
fucking
off,
camera.
back off.
I said, fuck you with your camera. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Who the fuck you work for, bitch ass nigga? Who the fuck you work for? Bitch, who you work for? Fuck you, nigga.
You're in public.
Get the fuck out of here. Yo, listen, you gonna get the fuck out of
Hey,
here.
hey.
Beat your fucking ass
Back up.
over here. Get the
Hey,
fuck out
hey.
of here with that shit. You gonna get fucked up. I'm telling you,
Wait,
cuz.
back up,
You gonna
back
get
up.
fucking fucked up over here.
Back
Get
up,
the fuck
back
out
up.
of here. Keep
Back,
your fucking
back
pussy.
up.
I am the captain now. I am the captain now.
Get the fuck out of here. That's what y'all do, snitch ass motherfucker. Look at yourself in there.
Hey, hey, hey.
Take that shit somewhere else.
Hey,
Come
why are
on,
you,
man. Keep
why are
it
you mad
fucking
at me?
pushing. Keep it pushing.
Why are you mad at me?
Take it over there somewhere else.
I am.
Yeah, you work for the fucking, who you work for?
By myself.
All right, get out of here with
Look,
that
I just
fucking
bought some
camera.
Rolex.
That's right.
I just bought a
Fuck
Rolex.
you with the Rolex.
It's a
Fuck
fake
outta
one.
here.
It's a fake one,
It's
so.
a fake one. Go to the fucking store and get the real one. Get the fuck out of here with your cameras. Snitch ass motherfuckers. But what the fuck is y'all here for? This is how the fuck we eat. That's how the fuck we eat. So get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here.
I'm leaving.
So get the fuck out of here.
Where you come from?
You get the fuck out of here.
Where
I
you-
come from your mother, bitch.
Really?
You, bitch.
No, you didn't.
Fuck out of here.
Why are you mad at us?
Go fucking suck some
We
dick.
can be here on the street. This is public street.
Yo, get the
We have the
fuck
First
outta here,
Amendment.
nigga. This our block, you bitch ass nigga. Get the fuck
This is your
outta
block?
here. Yeah, motherfucker. Yo, somebody spend this motherfucker and take the camera away.
I can be here. I don't have anything to be worried about because I'm not doing anything illegally. You see what happens? People come in from other countries illegally. They get mad at you on the streets of the United States. Then they shouldn't be doing stuff illegally. Then they shouldn't be doing stuff illegally.
That's not your fucking business what you do legally.
Hey, hey. Hey, hey.
I will smash this bitch.
Hey.
And you won't fucking look.
Hey. Hey. All right, we're out. See what happens? That's the problem. Is you just can't let this go on. People need to start standing on business. These people are selling illegally on the streets of New York City. Cameraman just got punched in the face. Took one for the team. He just took one cold right there. You just can't allow this to happen in the biggest city in the United States for people to be selling drugs. They're selling marijuana illegally. That's why they're mad. Thing is, these people don't have papers. You guys heard it there. He said this is his block. It's not his block. He's here.
Go support Nick Shirley over on all of his social medias. You guys, look, they're out there. Believe me, there is nothing I wish more than I could be out there with them. Soon, very soon. Very soon. But as I sit here to report on the people out there who have the ability to go cover that stuff, go support Nick Shirley, go support Nick Sorter, go support Savannah Hernandez and all the people that are out there, Cam Higbee, all my boys out there on the street doing the hard work. Believe me, I absolutely wish that I could. Well, turns out that some people in the administration pay attention to independent journalism. They do not give a crap what NBC has to say. So, this is what happened next.
Public street, man.
And I'm happy to announce that one of the people that were picked up was the guy who assaulted Nick Shirley and his friend. It turns out we are the captain now. We are the captain now. Yep. Turns out, whatever your name is, you will be on your way back to whatever third world shithole you came from. Adios. So I don't know if it's adios. I know it's not arrivederci, I can tell you that. Tell you that one. I can tell you that. See you later, bro, because it turns out when ICE came in and were allowed to do their job, which they won't be allowed to do their job very soon when Zoran Mandani wins, because everyone in this city has got an ego the size of the Empire State Building and nobody can accept reality. When Zoran Mandani wins, these sorts of people are going to remain out on the street. But who are these sorts of people? Well,
the 9 that were arrested, their rap sheets are long. Forgery, possession of drugs, drug trafficking, robbery, assault. So these are criminal aliens that were being targeted. Again, we do these based on criminal intelligence, and that's what we had. And, if you look at the video, everything was fine with the officers talking to those individuals and making those arrests until violent protesters showed up.
DHS telling me that the migrants arrested are all from West Africa and say at least one had a final order of removal and prior crimes, including counterfeit. But the protesters didn't want those people to leave the country, yelling at the agents to take off their masks as they blocked ICE in the city streets. DHS says a group of protesters with criminal histories were also arrested.
ICE out now! ICE out now!
Why do they? I gotta know this. Like, do they think these? Do the anti-ICE people think they're in like a movie or something, where if they just chant something that rhymes, that's gonna like make the police? I don't know what. What do they? It's like the ICE agents are gonna hear these idiots and go, "Oh shit! ICE out now. Well, I guess it's time to go. I guess I'll leave this West African forgerer out on the street assaulting people for absolutely no reason. I guess we'll do that. Because you came up with a clever rhyme. Like Dr. Seuss. One fish, two fish, go back to wherever it is you came from. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But we're going to talk about another idiot in just a second. His name is Harry Sisson. Before we get to that, Old Glory Bank.
When big banks decide who gets access to America's financial systems and who doesn't, who do you think gets left out? Middle Americans who proudly wave their pro-America values. Cancel culture in banking is corrosive. It limits your participation in a vibrant, free market economy. Fortunately, you can fight back. You now have the opportunity to invest in the bank that's investing in a fair American banking system, one based in freedom. Ownership in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank, is here. Old Glory Bank is a full-service FDIC-insured bank that's the alternative to overreaching, un-American big banks. We stand for privacy, security, and liberty. We stand for freedom, family, faith, and the flag. We stand for all the values you stand for, and for the values big banks can't stand. So help keep banking in the hands of Main Street, not Wall Street. To invest in Old Glory Bank, go to oldglorybank.com.
Guys, avoiding being punched in the face by West African migrants selling illegal Louis Vuitton bags on the streets of New York City is difficult. But do you know what's not difficult? Heading on over to oldglorybank.com and locking in some of those interest rates before Jerome Powell either wakes up or loses his job. Guys, support the people who are supporting your values, your privacy, your security, and your liberty. Guys, head on over to oldglorybank.com. That's oldglorybank.com. So let's talk about Harry Sisson, who's a dumbass. Just completely useless. For some reason, he's being paid by the Democratic Party. It's not going well for him. He appeared on Piers Morgan's show, which apparently, I don't know who's booking for Piers Morgan. Actually, I got to find that out. Give me a second. I got to find out who books for that show. GS, give me a call. He decided that he was going to attack Donald Trump. Because he hadn't called out these group chats that have been released. The group chats. The group chats. The group chats are everywhere. Group chat here, group chat there, group chat everywhere. Everybody keep me the hell out of your group chats, by the way. All right? Please stop starting group chats and including me in them. But he decided to ask Jack Posobiec and Isabel Brown and some other guy, I don't know who the hell he was. When has any prominent Democrat referred to Donald Trump as Hitler. He then was fact-checked about 4 seconds later, and you can see the bemusement in his face as the shock and the Adderall kicks in at the same time.
By the way, I'd be happy to answer the question about whether or not a high-ranking Democrat has used this rhetoric. Who is Kamala Harris?
I know. I want you to answer all the questions. I want you to answer all the questions
for you. Who is Kamala Harris?
Wait. Answer all the questions I just gave you. And can you name me when Kamala Harris said that Donald Trump is Hitler? When did Kamala Harris? Great.
Was Kamala Harris last year a high-ranking Democrat when she was?
When did Kamala Harris call Donald Trump Hitler?
October of 2024. Kamala Harris said on the campaign trail, Donald Trump vowed to be a dictator on day one. His former chief of staff said he wanted generals like Hitler's. Donald Trump openly admires dictators, including Adolf Hitler. Last October, that was said on the campaign trail from the Democrat.
So Kamala Harris said this during the campaign, during the closing days of the campaign. It was her final campaign pitch. Is that high enough ranking for you? You guys you supported her for president.
Exactly, because there have been reports
the person
that Donald
you
Trump
supported for president is someone
just relax,
who was campaigning by calling Trump Hitler.
Jack,
you're so disingenuous when you bring this stuff up. You can't even acknowledge the fact that your own candidate was on the campaign. She got a video about it. It's on her Facebook, or it's on her Twitter page.
Of course, Harry doesn't know what to say because the minute he said that, he knew that he had stepped in it because, there's videos out there like this.
I don't think anybody in this debate can name me a high-ranking elected Democrat who has called Donald Trump Hitler.
I don't even know what to call him. I've called him so many things, but this wannabe Hitler for sure.
I can't find a single Democrat. Sure, I just showed you 2 of them, but it's not like I have a third one queued up.
This is what happened. This is what happened. People's rights started getting taken away. People got accused of being immigrants. This is before the Holocaust really took place. People were accused of being immigrants, and then laws were passed to limit immigrants, and then people who weren't actually immigrants were called immigrants, and then it was othering people, and that led to a lot worse things. What I'm saying is that this is how authoritarian regimes do it. They create these kind of fake ideas that there's an enemy out there, and it could be sitting next to you at one of these tables. And so just somebody at your table that you don't like might be one of those enemies. And so let's round them up. Let's make sure that they are the subject of the laws that we're passing because we don't like who they are. That is what authoritarian regimes do.
It's not like I have, 3 queued up immediately, one after the other. Look, I found those clips in 3 minutes. I'm sure if I dove in, I could find other ones. It's not really that hard, but Harry Sisson is, of course, he's a dumbass. He's a big dumbass. Now, look, I'm not going to admit, I'm not going to pretend that the group chats that had been released over the last several days of people who I know, I'm not going to pretend I don't know them. They've been on the show, both of them. I'm not going to pretend that. But, I think there's a little bit of a difference. And tell me if I'm wrong, guys. Tell me if I'm wrong. Is there a little bit of a difference between a group chat amongst friends where people are talking shit to one another and, being the Democratic Senate candidate in Maine and having a giant Nazi tattoo on your chest?
Hold that thought because I do want to now turn to more Nazi-related political news. Again, cannot believe that's something that I'm saying, but the Associated Press reports that Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner got a new tattoo to cover up one he had that resembles a Nazi symbol. Now, Plattner gave this video to Pod Save America. It shows his tattoo of a Totenkopf symbol that was used by Hitler's Nazi Guard. The former Marine and oyster farmer says he was disgusted to learn about the tattoo's meaning, and he explained why he got it.
Are you a secret Nazi?
I am not a secret Nazi. We went ashore and split Croatia, myself and a few of the other machine
you're not
gun
a
squad.
secret Nazi. Then why do you have a secret Nazi tattoo on your chest? I don't know. It's very up, but don't worry, guys. Because remember, when the Young Republican group chat got leaked, and then Paul Ingracia's text messages got leaked, I remember the media running articles like these. I remember I remember that. I was there. Maybe you guys were too. I remember them running stories like Maine Senate candidate says he's going to get his Nazi tattoo covered. I remember them saying that. Democrat running to unseat Susan Collins stays in the race after discovery of a Nazi tattoo. Why don't we keep scrolling? What you need to know about Graham Plattner and his Nazi tattoo. Wow. I remember them running cover for them. Despite the fact this guy also called for political violence on Reddit. I don't think anyone should be elected who's on Reddit, by the way. Go out, maybe see a naked woman once in a while, go outside. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I remember them running cover for that. Oh, that's right. That's right. And if I keep playing that clip from CNN, you will actually see, I don't know who the hell this guy is. You will actually see CNN, some guy on CNN. You ready for this? You ready for this? Say that it is Donald Trump's fault that the Democratic candidate in Maine has a Nazi tattoo on his chest. Here, I'll try to find the part.
Hold that. I just want to read one quote from your piece in Demographics. I don't even know what to do with that except for give a window to people who aren't familiar with this kind of echo chamber and atmosphere in Reddit and other places, that if that is commonplace, then society needs to really focus on that as much as these things that are sort of springing up into mainstream culture.
This is first a reflection.
First off, let's see what Higgins from Magnum PI has to say
Of Trump and the way Republicans have handled the sort of stories we were just talking about. I think
Oh, it's a reflection of Trump. So, a guy from an oyster farmer from Maine is the Democratic pick for Senate, and nobody checks whether or not he's got a Nazi tattoo on his chest. But group texts get released of guys in their late 20s talking shit to each other, and now we have to pretend like the world is ending. I tell you what, when you release the Young Democrats text messages of them celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, maybe then I'll give a shit. Maybe then I'll care. You know who really cares, though? Some lady you've never heard of named Mikey Sherrill, who's about to blow one of the biggest leads in political history. We'll get to that in 1 second. Before we do that, Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 6-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. So things are not looking great for this lady named Mikey Sherrill, who in June started up 20 points in the race. In August, she was only up by 9, and now she's down to a plus 5 percentage point. That comes from Reuters, from Rutgers, excuse me. A poll that missed by 5 in 2021 and a poll that missed by 14 points in the presidential election of 2024. That's probably why New Jersey, the Garden State, baby, the DNC has now dumped a late $4 million into Mikey Sherrill's campaign because she's in big trouble against Jack Ciattarelli.
Cheryl is facing her own heat for reportedly taking donations from a tycoon linked to the Chinese Communist Party. Fox Digital writes this, Penny, the founder of Wang Zhang America Corporation, donated $60,000 to the One Giant Leap Super PAC, which is backing Mikey Cheryl's campaign in the form of 2 checks, in addition to giving her the $5,800 individual max donation directly to Cheryl's campaign this summer, according to records reviewed by Fox News Digital and first reported by the New York Post. Now, Fox Business has also reached out to Cheryl's campaign on this, and we are waiting for a response. We have not gotten any answers to any of this, but we talk about the Communist Party of China all the time on this program. What do you know about the relationship between your opponent and the CCP?
I know what you know because she won't answer any questions about it, but this is what happened in the debate last week. It was news of this. It was news of contributions from the opioid manufacturers. It was her being punished at the Naval Academy. It was her breaking federal law on stock trades and stock reporting. New York Times reports that while sitting on the House Armed Services Committee, she's trading defense stocks. I really think what happened last week, Maria, she cracked. And when she cracked, she got very reckless. And that reckless led to that blatant lie that I filed my defamation suit about.
Well, political analysts are pointing out the importance of this race and the outcome ahead of the 2026 midterms. Fox News contributor Liz Peek wrote about it in this Fox News Digital op-ed. She
is freaking out, and that's why she's calling in every major Democrat. Mikey Cheryl is calling in every major Democrat from across the country to help get her over the finish line.
His ability to excite enough Latino and black voters to get out the vote. And in these final weeks, she has called in big name Democrats to join her campaign. Governors Wes Moore, Gretchen Whitmer, for instance, and Governor Josh Shapiro and Pete Buttigieg and President Obama are also coming to join her on the campaign trail. But back here at the diner, you know, President Trump is looming very large in this race. Harris Cheryl has made this race all about President Trump, fixated on making this a referendum for him. Representative Donalds told me today.
Look, guys, we got to wrap up because it's almost 4 o'clock, but I can promise you this weekend and the weekend after that, I will be all over the Garden State. This weekend, I think it's Bergen County and Hudson County. When I get the details, you'll have the details. If you're from New Jersey, follow Mike Crispy, follow Michael Casey. I'll be with them all weekend, baby. Giddy up. Let's go, guys. It's 4 p.m. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. I will catch you guys back live tomorrow, 4 p.m. Hannah Faulkner's coming up next, right here on this network. Until tomorrow, everybody, stay loud.